Good morning, good afternoon, and hello, everybody, and welcome to Pit Road Productions, and also welcome to Almeida Racing Academy. We'll be broadcasting on 2 streams today. Definitely a first for us, ladies and gentlemen. But we're going to be here for the absolutely fantastic league so far, where we see league members take part, albeit a little bit scenic route there, on some fantastic courses. And ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be in the Formula 1600 live at Summit Point Raceway. But I've got to say, Breeze, it's been an absolute belter of a season so far. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and let's get some thoughts from yourself on Summit Point.
Yeah, certainly. Summit Point, a very historic road racing course in America. It's part of iRacing's default content. So if you're on iRacing, you know your way around it. And of course, in the Almeida Racing League, we're racing Formula 1600s around here. Should be a fun time. We've broadcast F1600s at Summit Point before, and it has been mighty exciting. I'm expecting more of the same tonight. There's a bit of an opportunity for slipstream down the front straight and plenty of heavy braking zones. So plenty of opportunities for these Almeida Racing Academy students to stretch their legs and show what they can do.
Absolutely. And actually, speaking of Summit Point, let's take a look at the overall schedule as well, ladies and gentlemen, see where we've been and where we're going. So we started at a very fine track, obviously being British. It's Alton Park with Winton Raceway, I believe that's Australian race, for round 2. Round 3 takes us to Summit Point. For round 4, we head to the Red Bull Ring, with round 5 taking us to VIR, and the closer being in the, I believe it's the Dutch track of Zandvoort for round 6 on the 26th of April. But I've got to say, certainly this is one of the Zippy approved tracks, or Princess approved, depending on which audience you're in, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly a good laugh regardless. But let's also take a quick look at the championship points, ladies and gentlemen, and see exactly how things are shaping up so far.
Yeah, indeed. 2 rounds in, it is Rupesh Pineni who is leading the charge. Andrew Moran, one of the drivers here in the Split 1 that we are broadcasting. Second in the championship, only 5 points behind. Could be going for an overall title if things go his way, as looks like Team Blue doing very well up the top there. Of course, drivers organised into teams based on colour, and organised pretty regularly via iRating. Team Red, Patrick Bardet and Declan Marsden, 4th and 6th, with Team White also making some appearances there too. Team Red is currently on top in the team standings. Purple and Blue separated by not that much, actually, chasing them down. And Black and White, 1785. Let's see if that can get any greyer.
Well, certainly, I've got to admit, I do enjoy a good ride around Summit Point Raceway. These guys are currently out in qualifying, ladies and gentlemen, and Zoltan Somator, I believe he ended up getting a little bit of heat from the stewards. I'll have to double check. Certainly, actually, speaking of stewards, it's good to see VJ is back as well, the number 21 car. And we did have another car that hasn't given a suspension. Istvan, ladies and gentlemen, did get a little bit of a rap from the stewards from the last round at Winton. But another fun note as well, we do actually have some coaches in the session today. I do see Brian Lockwood is out and about, as is Kane Halliburton. Connor Bell is also in the session as well. So we'll have to see if he does indeed take to the track. But I've got to say, certainly, it's been an absolutely belter of a season so far. The Formula 1600's proving to be some very lively racing action indeed.
Yeah, indeed, of course. And if you're unfamiliar, this league is set up for students of the Almeida Racing Academy. And as you mentioned, coaches at the Almeida Academy racing in this league as well. Usually they start from the back of the grid in the races, and there's potential for some extra championship points on offer for the students if they can defend their position from the coaches as times come in qualifying. We've got a 15-minute session on the cards here, and it is open, so you're going to have to try and negotiate other cars here if you want to get a good lap time down. Currently, Mahid Rahman, the previous overall champion, is leading, but Matt Larkin only shadowing him by 100th of a second. Mark Frederick, 7 thousandths behind Larkin for 3rd spot. Those times are looking very close up the front so far.
Absolutely incredible competition here at Summit Point Raceway, and I've got to say, this is exactly what you want to see, because in theory, like, the car can only go so fast around the track, and seeing it this far balanced just goes to show that, you know, these guys are pretty evenly matched. As Garrett Lund, say very briefly, took the lead before Mahid Rahman decided to take that back, as did Mark Frederick there. But one thing as well, you got to keep in mind with these cars, they do rely on the draft quite a bit, ladies and gentlemen. So certainly you can see here, this car we're watching right now, he's getting an absolutely fantastic slipstream from the car head. Mark Frederick, ladies and gentlemen, as we go on board for a lap around Summit Point.
Yep, out of turn 1, hairpin, and then the sweeper of turn 3. And this is the most difficult part of the circuit right here. You're going super fast through this right-hander, careful of the curb on the inside, and then jump on the brakes for the double hairpin that really defines this place. Actually, the newer part of the circuit. But it's all about mechanical grip through this section and making sure that you've got the line right through these S's here. Use the curbs properly. Careful not to get an off track, flat out through here if you've gotten the line right, and then it's through the sweeping final corner, and that's where you set up the slipstream down the front straight. As you said, the draft is very strong in these Formula 1600s, so looks to me like Mark Frederick might have a little bit of draft here as he's going to come across the line very shortly. Start-finish line is after the pit exit. As wow, there's more shuffling here in the qualifying session. Mark Frederick going up to 6th with that lap on a 15.8, but a 15.395 from Garrett Lund. That is just about as fast as he ran in practice. Very impressive.
Well, you can see there, that's one of his teammates right ahead of him. So there's definitely some team tactics going on. And honestly, that is probably one of my favorite things about the Almeida Racing Academy, because they don't just, go, okay, you guys are in this team, you guys are in that team. They encourage you to work together and sort of bring up the pace of one another as well. And you certainly saw Sammy Hendricks last time. He was definitely very much heavily involved in keeping the team stuff going. I think he ended up getting moved to a different team now. Not out of spite or anything like that, but certainly, they've reshuffled things by I rating and stuff like that, tried to balance it out. And certainly, he's now a novice coach as well, ladies and gentlemen. So certainly, goes to show that these things can potentially lead somewhere. But it's great to see that the teamwork is indeed in place. Certainly, I think that's really what you need. Having run a couple of series myself and driven in series, stuff like the Spec Racer Ford, the Formula V, and the Formula 1600 as well, having that car to just kind of help punch a hole through the air can be absolutely massive in terms of a lap time. Certainly with the Spec Racer Ford can be as much as 2 seconds in one lap.
Yeah, indeed. All dependent on circuit length as well. Further improvement there from Mark Frederick, going up to 3rd. Mikhail Prechuk has gone all the way up from 18th to 10th as well. And Kevin Adrian making an improvement from 21st to 12th. So some big changes happening here in the middle of the session. Sean Haggerty going 6th fastest. Mike Sargent going 10th fastest. Honestly, these times are crazy close at the moment. And we genuinely don't know who's going to be starting on pole. I'm wondering if Vijay Rajasekaran there, on his return, of course, you mentioned he had a slap on the wrist from the stewards. Well, for context, if any of you missed it, the first round of the championship, VJ had a hardware issue on the grid at Alton Park, and it caused a massive crash. And so the stewards decided it was best that he sit out a round as penalty for that. And he is back, and he is fast in Team Purple, up in 2nd spot. He only has to make up a 1/10 of a second to grab provisional pole. We'll have to wait and see how this lap goes for him.
Yeah, I gotta say, VJ, it's good to have him back. He's definitely got pace, but a little bit too spicy behind the wheel. Actually, I did have a closer look at the penalty thing, actually, and the stewards actually, for the hardware thing, they didn't penalize him for it, which I think, okay, fair enough. I see, yeah. He actually managed to accumulate 55 points without that, which is a little bit more alarming and impressive at the same time, don't get me wrong. So I've got a feeling he's very much going to be on his best behavior here today at Summit Point Raceway.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for the extra context there, Mr. Daniel Salmon. In any case, there's still plenty of slipstreaming going on throughout this field. Cairo Enns has managed to grab provisional P2 at the moment as we follow Sean Haggerty around the circuit here in the Team Blue number 22. Got a Team White car up ahead of him, and it's moments like this where you think, maybe I'm a little too close to the car ahead. Maybe it's actually compromising me. And that's one of the things that the drivers learn about here, thanks to the Almeida Racing Academy and the Almeida Racing League, is how to better deal with situations like this. You can see that Haggerty is keeping his distance. He's not getting too close, but he's still getting the benefit of the slipstream down these straight line sections.
Well, certainly, I do understand the feeling, and sometimes it can almost be a little bit misleading at times as well. When you've got that draft, you can feel that the car ahead is, for lack of better words, really lacking pace, and then all of a sudden you get ahead of them, and you got them riding up your rear bumper, or I guess tailpipe in the case of the 1600s, and all of a sudden you're very quickly humbled, ladies and gentlemen, as you see Valdes Van Sevius making a little bit of a pass there. So I'm having a quick look actually at the protest report. So, ladies and gentlemen, those drivers who hit the 20-point penalty limit will be contacted privately. But the good news is, if they attend the pit parties, they can avoid a race suspension. They kind of get some points given back on their license. So certainly some interesting standings indeed. It just tell me that JBC Ispan was given a season-free suspension. So obviously he's in a little bit of hot water there. I don't know if we'll be seeing him back, ladies and gentlemen. But if I have a look at Heat 1, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to have a quick count here, but there's definitely there's got to be at least probably 12, if not 15 incidents to be investigated there from last race, sorry.
Yeah, indeed. That's quite a tally to accumulate. In the meantime, there's been further changes in the provisional qualifying standings. Brazil's Fernando Afonso in car 222, making a great improvement up to 8th. Mahid Rahman making another improvement to get back up to 6th. And Andrew Moran is currently your provisional pole sitter, down to a 15-0 on qualifying pace. And, well, that is officially now faster than the ultimate practice pace. It was Vijay Rajasekaran who was the fastest in practice on a 1:15.044, 15.034 from Andrew Moran, who has been, I would argue, the most consistent top competitor in the Almeida Racing League over the last couple of seasons. Rajasekaran responding to get back up to second spot there with another brilliant lap, a 15.2. And, well, we've still got over 3.5 minutes remaining in the session. This is going to be a massive end of the qualifying session before our 3 races here tonight.
Well, certainly, as I'm looking at the top 5 right now, ladies and gentlemen, Team Blue very much potent in that position. 3 out of the 5 spots accumulated by them, with Vijay Rajasekaran able to sneak away that second place, ladies and gentlemen. Definitely going to be one of the more cautious drivers. As is Fernando Alfonso, actually. They were a little bit heat from the stewards last round. Certainly, I do understand Winton definitely. I did a couple of laps, and by laps, I tried to navigate around it, and I definitely struggled, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly, at Summit Point, it is one of the tracks available to these races from the very start, ladies and gentlemen. It is a free track, so I'm expecting a lot more close competition here.
Winton, of course, is part of the iRacing based content as well, but it is far from easy. It's I believe it might have been either Dick Johnson or Jim Richards, 2 Australian touring car legends, who referred to Winton as like trying to ride a bicycle around your living room. It's basically Monaco without the walls. But yeah, you're right. Summit Point is a much easier circuit to make your way around, and I think it gives you a little more room to play with your sort of racing head, so to speak. Winton, you are just trying to survive and stay out of the drama. Here at Summit Point, you have a bit more space, a bit more opportunity to practice your slipstreaming and your defensive tactics, etc. Leon Bentbilsen, one of the guys in the field with the biggest fan club. His family likes to tune in for every race, and if you lot are watching, hello, good to have you back. Let's see what Leon can do to get himself further into the top 7 here. Look at the attitude of that car. Of course, this is a fixed setup series. All drivers are driving the same settings, but Leon, it seems, very comfortable with getting the tail out.
Well, you speak of the Leon Bentbilsen fan club. They are indeed present in one of the chats, ladies and gentlemen. I see Aurum, if I remember rightly. Aurum is a Leon fan. You got Kaylee in there as well. Heather is in there as well. Oh, sorry, Hesper is in there as well. Ladies and gentlemen, certainly it's good to have you guys taking part. And Kaylee there with the go-go. Hello. Definitely good to see. And right now, Leon is hopefully leading his teammate, Mike Sargent. They're respectively in 7th and 8th right now. And there's definitely some tactics going on there, ladies and gentlemen. It's not just a race against each other, well, in terms of setting out outright qualifying place, but it is a race against the clock. Less than a minute to go in just a moment of qualifying remaining.
Yes, here we go then, as Sargent is catching up to Bentbilsen here. And, oh, there we go. Leon jumping out of the way, but Sargent losing the rear, coming into the left-hander. It looks like that qualifying run is going to be over. Of course, this is a heat session. All races taking place in the same server, so that means there's a hard cut to the end of the qualifying session. If you haven't finished your lap by the time the clock hits 0, you are not going to be able to complete it. Everyone will just be kicked off the circuit, and we'll get ready for the grid. 30 seconds remain. These are going to be the final laps for the Team Blue cars getting done there. Sammy Hendricks up to... that's just outside the top 10 there. That's 12th. And Fernando Afonso back up to 10th. Zoltan Zomotor going 8th fastest. Big improvements happening right at the end here. Hendricks, of course, a very fast driver in his own right. And Zomotor now touring around the circuit here in the dying seconds of qualifying. 3, 2, and 1. Qualifying's over, and goodbye, everybody. You're going to disappear.
Well, I've got to say, Reese proving that he is indeed quite a talented commentator and indeed a talented magician, ladies and gentlemen, as I've never seen anybody be able to make cars disappear in such a fashion. But right now, you see Andrew Moran took the top spot with Vijay Rajasekaran in second. Garrett Lund took third with Mark Frederick in fourth. Pyro Enns was in fifth with Mahid Rahman. That's last year's winner, ladies and gentlemen, last season's winner in sixth. With Leon Benfausen, the crowd favorite, in seventh. Zoltan Zomotor takes eighth with Mike Sargent from Beaver Block in ninth. And Fernando Afonso closing out the top 10.
Matt Larkin there in 11th, joined on the 6th row by Sammy Hendricks. Then we move to Lucky 13. Sean Haggerty got Lee Martinez alongside him. Kevin Adrian and Mayan Glixa, 15th and 16th. The 9th row of the grid, Rafael Romansky and Juhas Jacint, with the top 20 rounded out by Valdas Vansevicius and Mikhail Presyuk. Then Rudy Filmalta, David Kent, Kyle Diaz-Castro, and Edwin Rivera rounding out our top 24 positions. Mikhail Sabinias, the last driver to set a time in the qualifying session. John Kinney did not set a lap time. And then we have our coaches, Halliburton, Bell, and Lockwood, rounding out our 29-car field. 29 cars around Summit Point. I think this is going to be slightly claustrophobic.
Oh, it sounds like my kind of fun race. To me, that just, it leads to opportunity, but I do have a feeling the coaches aren't driving yet. I would very much like to see them out on the track, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly, I know Mike Sargent definitely would as well. As I say that, Kane Halliburton has taken to the grid in that number 27 car. Brian Lockwood was showing a black flag during qualifying, but it appears to be cleared for this. I do know that the black flag and them have not had the best relationship, but I am hoping to see them out on the track. Certainly adds an extra dynamic, and certainly, you know, some people often, when you see like an I rating and stuff like that, they get phased by it, but you just got to go for it. As we're getting ready for the restart, Reese, do the honors, sir.
Yes, indeed. It's the start of the race, as it were. 5 seconds remaining on the ticker, and hopefully everyone who wants to be on the grid has gotten there by now. Andrew Moran versus Vijay Rajasekaran on the front row. A standing start in these Formula 1600s. Long run to turn 1 at Summit Point. You're going to be suffering for a long time if you don't get the start down, and they've gotten it down beautifully. A slightly better run from Vijay Rajasekaran. It looks like he was a bit more on the money versus Andrew Moran. They're going to be side by side coming into turn 1, and Vijay's going to lead coming into the braking zone, and the response from Moran is to go behind him. Now, that could be a tactical maneuver there. Try and take advantage of the slipstream and strike back when the time comes. Looked like a clean start from basically everyone else coming through the first couple of corners. No big incidents to speak of, but here's one of the points where you might see drivers making mistakes here. A bit wide from the Team Black car there, but everyone's sweeping through nicely.
Well, it definitely was a clean start, but I do believe the number 10 car of Kevin Adrian may have jumped it. Ladies and gentlemen, he did get a black flag very shortly after the green, so yeah. I have a feeling he may have indeed got a little bit trigger happy on that gas pedal. Certainly, I've done it before. I'm sure a lot of us have at home, but Andrew Moran currently in second place. Vijay Rajasekaran there leading the field, and honestly, I think this could be good for Vijay. If he can keep out in front, he can certainly stay away from incidents, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly, maybe avoid the wrath of the stewards. You see one of the Team Red cars there taking a little bit of a wider line than planned, but right now you've got purple, blue, red, and blue.
A bit wide for Rajasekaran there through the final corner. I saw him take to the grass actually on entry, which induced some understeer. So now he's under attack from Andrew Moran again. He's going to go defensive on the way into the first turn here. Side by side, who will win the battle of last of the late breakers? VJ defending the inside nicely. Moran having to go wide and give him space, and the lead is kept by VJ as they make their way out through turn 2. The top 4 starting to break away. Garrett Lund and Mahid Rahman standing with them. Battle for 5th. Mark Frederick holding off Cairo Ends there in the Team Red machine and getting chased down by Leon Benvelsen as well.
Certainly, we did see Cairo Ends have a lot of pace, certainly last round out Witten, but definitely not the best of luck as they're looking to try and make a move. And dear, that's gone horribly wrong, ladies and gentlemen, for Cairo Ends. The commentator's curse is indeed potent today as Mark Frederick takes the scenic group off the track, puts him to the back of the pack, ladies and gentlemen, just ahead of Kevin Adrian, who would have served that black flag, ladies and gentlemen. But actually, speaking of which, hard charger right now, we've not really seen too much of him yet, but he's still making the moves. Ladies and gentlemen, Kane Halliburton up to 17th place.
Yeah, good job from our resident coach there, as once again it's very wide on entry for Vijay Rajasekaran in the lead. We're going to see another look there at the incident. Looks like Rafael Romansky actually having a problem there on the first lap, going a bit wide, and that resulted in some dramas there. But Mark Frederick versus Cairo Ends. Frederick was staying middle of the road, which is his right, but it seems like it caught out Cairo Ends a bit, and they made contact wheel to wheel, and unfortunately Frederick was sent around. He's back down in 25th place now, and you never know, Cairo Ends might get a bit of a chat from the stewards as it's on for the lead once again. Andrew Moran piling the pressure on Vijay Rajasekaran.
Yeah, I definitely think it wasn't intentional, because as you come around this right-hander just here, you're carrying absolutely so much speed, and obviously the weight changes as you're going into the braking zone as well. It's a very demanding corner, and certainly I will admit I've definitely overshot that, maybe just once, twice, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, it was a few times, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly I've not got myself stuck into the Almeida Racing Academy material just yet, but I have indeed started, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm excited about this. Don't get me wrong, I'm looking to try and pursue 3,000 I rating in Formula, ladies and gentlemen, so certainly the challenge has been set. But right now we're watching this driver. It's Vijay Rajasekaran. He's currently out in front. Andrew Moran right behind him, less than 2/10 of a second, ladies and gentlemen, and very much these guys have not been able to pull away. The draft is indeed potent here, but if I look at my timing sheet, it is a sea of red, ladies and gentlemen. Everybody very, very close together. The biggest gap I can see is 1.4 seconds.
Oh, is the lead potentially for Andrew Moran, but loses the rear end on the way into the first turn, and that will give the opportunity to Mahid Rahman to get alongside for second spot. Now Mahid's boxed in. He's got VJ ahead of him. Bit of contact with the side pod there of Andrew Moran. Will Andrew be able to take advantage of this? No, he won't be able to. He's stuck on the inside there of the left-hander, and that has given Vijay Rajasekaran the breathing room he needs. Mahid Rahman completing the move to get up into P2.
Honestly, I thought they was really going to lose contact there with VJ as you go around that corner side by side, as I can hear my co-worker absolutely holding on, ladies and gentlemen. Incredibly tight racing, ladies and gentlemen. And I believe there's been an incident. I've got a notification for Rudy Filmata and Michael Saboneras. We'll have a look at that in just a second, but oh my gosh, this I certainly did see 3 wide, 4 wide being an event that was going to happen at Summit, and it's fair to say these drivers have not disappointed.
So the incident was between Mikhail Prechuk and Lee Martinez. Unfortunately, Prechuk seems caught the curb on the inside of the tight left-hander right in front of Martinez, and they ended up mounting each other, and Martinez got stuck on the tyre barrier. That is an awful way to have your race go. Martinez is back rolling though, and looks like so is Prechuk. So things not going as bad as they could be, but regardless, they have damage, and that is far from ideal.
Well, certainly I was a little bit worried there, but I don't think I marked this as a family-friendly stream. Certainly those two 1600s becoming very intimate for that brief moment, but the race continues, ladies and gentlemen, as we see there. Garrett Lund trying everything he can. He's down 1 position right now. Last season's champion, Mahid Rahman, has been able to get the better of him, who's currently up 3 positions and resting on that 3rd podium spot. But you can see the crowd favorite, ladies and gentlemen, Leon Benfelsen, looking to apply some pressure. Certainly, he's been getting a little bit unlucky with the incidents recently. I'm hoping he can have a cleaner race, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly what my iRacing mentor taught me. He was actually running in one of these splits, I believe, albeit the bottom one, but let's not give him too much of a hard time for that. 4 splits of this league are running, ladies and gentlemen. Just keep that in mind. 4 splits, absolutely incredible. But the message he taught me is low risk, high reward. And don't get me wrong, there's times where I definitely need to refresh my memory on that. Certainly this is another driver who would benefit from that. He was I think Fraser's being a little bit too spicy, perhaps, a little bit too keen at Winton. And certainly, you know what? You got to weigh up the pros and cons. Definitely, to finish first, you have to finish.
Yeah, one of the oldest idioms in racing, and a lot of drivers have proven that one here as Cairo in starting to make a recovery there. Got the inside of Fernando Afonso in the Team Blue car. The black car is Mayan Glixer. This is the battle for 10th place we're looking at the moment, and Glixer struggling to find a way through. Afonso trying to fight back against Enns, but at that particular corner, outside line wins.
Oh, absolutely. And certainly the battle does continue as it's getting even spicier, ladies and gentlemen. The field has broken up a little bit between 9th and 10th. Sammy Hendricks holding on to the back of that pack there. Cairo Enns getting a little bit further behind. But right now, you've got two coach cars, ladies and gentlemen. Brian Lockwood and Kane Halliburton, both of them up a good couple of positions there and doing an absolutely fantastic job, certainly applying the pressure, ladies and gentlemen. As you can see there, currently Lockwood in P14, Halliburton in P13, and running a little bit solo at the minute is Brian Lockwood.
Yeah, Brian has managed to find his way up into 14th spot, and he'll shortly be becoming a part of this battle here, as Valdas Vansavicius down in 19th place, all bit wide from Kyle Diaz-Castro up ahead of him in the purple machine, and there is the opportunity going to try and sweep through down the start-finish straight. But as we've seen, Summit Point can be very hard to actually pull off a move if you're not brave enough. But Valdas is brave. He's going to stick to the inside there and get the traction on exit up to 18th.
Well, for a second there, I thought we were going back to the 90s, ladies and gentlemen. I thought it was Squeeze Up the Junction. Now, I get that that reference is going to be understood by absolutely nobody, but I definitely got it. And it's actually a song about just some guy's life, really. How he met a girl and, went off with someone else. Anyway, moving on. I thought it was a good play, ladies and gentlemen, but right now we're on the back of the Beaver Block car. Now, certainly Mike Sargent, he has managed to get himself a little bit of a reputation for being an absolute defensive weapon, but against Leon Bentfelsen, you'd hope they wouldn't be fighting too hard, potentially working together, especially Summit Point. It's not an incredibly skinny track, but certainly it's not the widest one either. Certainly in places going around the corners, you definitely don't want to be going free wide, certainly free wide only for the front straight, ladies and gentlemen. But if these guys work together, they could effectively shut off the opposition behind him of Matt Larkin. We know that he's a potent driver as well. There is people coming, and you got to wonder as well, can they work as a team to do it? As you see a fight going on for the lead right now, is this going to be the opportunity that Moran needs? And I think he's managed to do it. He's gone on the inside and takes the lead.
Picked up the slipstream, got it done at turn 1. VJ trying to fight back, though, up the inside to turn 2. Moran saw him coming from a mile away and lets him have the space. But they're going to be side by side again. It's fortunate that these guys have the gap over everyone else that they do. Oh no, Rajasekaran off, and the rear end of the car hits the wall, and that is going to be race over for VJ Rajasekaran.
That's definitely unfortunate. It is one of the highest speed parts of the track, certainly to go side by side there. As we're having a quick look here at David Kent. Oh, there we go. Ladies and gentlemen, we're back.
There we go.
Let's take a quick peek. Reese, do the honors, sir.
So, yeah, VJ trying to keep the side-by-side going there, but I think he might have turned in a bit too tight. From my perspective, at least, Moran was doing the right thing. He was leaving all the space around the outside, and, if you're stuck on the inside at a fast sweeper like that, in a car that doesn't have much of anything in the way of downforce, in fact, I believe these cars might even generate a bit of lift, there's only so much you can do if you're boxed in on the inside. So that's unfortunate, but we shall see how things work out here. Valdas Vansavicius, meanwhile, looks like that was actually a spin there from Mayan Glixer up ahead. That happened a while ago, and Vansavicius gets turned around for his troubles as well. There's been some chaos going on through the field over the last couple of laps. This was maybe a lap or two ago, but the fight is still on for P4. Bentfelsen has found his way to that 4th spot there, and not far up ahead, Mahid Rahman and Mike Sargent keeping the space up, but if they start battling too hard, these guys are going to be right on their tail. 4 minutes to go.
Absolutely incredible battle so far. Also, as well, I do see a question in the chat about the iRacing chat tracks. We will get to you on that one very shortly. Certainly, I think most of this is indeed base content, I believe. Reese, correct me if I'm wrong. Certainly,
yes. So
Bolton, VIR, that is for sure. Red Bull Ring, I think, is a paid track, but I think that might be the only one. Okay, so for the chat, ladies and gentlemen, the counter's going to go again. These guys are roasting me for the ladies and gentlemen chat, and perfect. Connor Bell right in there. Thank you very much, Connor. He is one of the directors here at the Almeida Racing Academy. Thank you very much. But your question has indeed been answered. We like to pay attention to what you guys are asking us, and indeed the racing. As you see, Mahid Rahman currently up 4 positions in second.
Yeah, he's keeping Mike Sargent at bay very nicely, and as you mentioned, we've seen plenty from Sargent in terms of defending positions, but we haven't seen much from him in the way of attacking. We'll have to wait and see what he can do here with only 3 minutes remaining on the clock. My timing is showing me 3.5 laps to go for our leader, Andrew Moran, who is now all on his own after that unfortunate contact with Vijay Rajasekaran. So for now, Sargent just being a bit ginger on the wheel coming into the tight corners here. You've got to be very precise in the F1600. It has no wings. It does not produce downforce. It's all down to mechanical grip. So that really levels the playing field, as it were.
Oh, certainly, and I gotta say, myself, I personally prefer like this kind of setup. I do tend to find it a little bit easier, a little bit more with my driving style. As you see there, Ryan Lockwood looking to keep moving up through the field. Actually, just checking whereabouts is him. And, well, is he and indeed Kane Halliburton. So we've got coaches in 9th and 12th, respectively, ladies and gentlemen. Absolutely incredible gains by them. Certainly, if they were workout gains, these guys would be beyond Arnold Schwarzenegger at this point, maybe even Sylvester Stallone. And there we go, ladies and gentlemen. We may have accidentally just named our coaches Stallone and Schwarzenegger. I don't know if I want to go down that road, but it sounds like a fun giggle. We'll check with that one a bit later. But right now, crowd favorite Leon Bentfelsen having a good bit of a battle there, and it looks like Sammy Hendricks is getting involved.
Indeed, this is looking good, this battle for 4th place, and I want to just touch on Halliburton for a second. He's at the end of this train here in that yellow car in the background. He has had to really work for these positions. Every time he's come up on someone, they have defended like a dog, but they've kept it clean, which is the main thing. Oh, and just behind them, it looks like Lockwood's been involved in a problem with Afonso and Enns. They all managed to get going again, but there was a little bit of a scramble coming down into this section, Zippy.
Certainly, we've seen it going a little bit wide there, and yep, once you got on the grass, very hard to get that broken down, and definitely a little bit unfortunate. I believe it's the same drivers who had collisions last round, so certainly I got a feeling there's definitely going to be no love lost between them. Maybe an arm wrestle or something after the round could be in, you know, just settle it like men, settle it like gentlemen. And I'm not going to say ladies and gentlemen because they're absolutely roasting me in chat for that, as we see a white flag, ladies and gentlemen, last lap for the first race.
Yeah, and things are starting to get interesting in the battle for 4th. Bentfelsen defending hard against Sammy Hendricks. They made a little bit of contact in turn 1, and now Hendricks is in a bit of trouble here. Garrett Lund could try and get him around the outside here. Not much space, though, and Lund has to yield for now. It's side by side just behind them with Zoltan Zomotor and Kane Halliburton. Andrew Moran's all on his own. Mahid Rahman and Mike Sargent not pressuring each other too much there in 2nd and 3rd, but for 4th on back, it is on.
Oh, this is exactly what we want to see here. Sammy Hendricks, he definitely did not have the best luck at Winton. Hopefully he can recover. Certainly, if he can stay in 5th, that would be an absolutely fantastic spot. These drivers realizing as well, it is not really productive to go side by side through them. She goes, oh no, that's a wiggle there from Rahman. That could have ended very, very badly. And is this the opportunity that Mike Sargent needs? You can see them almost touching the grass there. It's going to come down to a drag race round the final corner. Oh my gosh, incredibly close. Andrew Moran absolutely celebrating in the distance, but it's going to be a drag race neck and neck as they go to the line.
Sargent got him! Sargent got him! That's incredible!
Thousandths of a second. How incredibly close is that?
That's amazing. Mike Sargent, I take my hat off to you. Let's have another look at how that was done. So he took advantage of the lack of momentum there from Mahid Rahman and swept around the outside of the final corner, was able to straighten up the car earlier and get a slightly better run there. And see, look at the gap there. There was barely anything between them. What a finish.
That is exactly the kind of racing we like to see here, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly not just Pit Road Productions, but certainly at the Almeida Racing Academy as well. We want to see great racecraft. Absolutely fantastic stuff. Bushi in the chat cheering him on. As we have a look at the final results, Andrew Moran took the win by about 3.2 seconds with Mahid Rahman in for, Mike Sargent, in second with me. We watched it and then we just blanked the guy. Mike Sargent in second with Mahid Rahman in third. Leon Bedvaldsen, one of the crowd favorites, he took fourth with Sammy Hendricks, novice coach, in fifth. Garrett Lund took sixth with Matt Larkin in seventh. Zoltan Zomator, despite getting caught up, managed to get eighth. Well done. So did Cairo Ends in ninth with Sean Haggerty in 10th.
Yeah, brilliant stuff there. Fernando Afonso up to 11th. Edwin Rivera up to 12th place. Good result for him after starting 24th. 23rd to 13th for Kyle Diaz-Castro. Mark Frederick did not have a good race. Lost a lot of positions. Kevin Adrian finishes where he started. Rudy Filmalter up to 16th. Rafael Romansky, David Kent, Lee Martinez, and Mayan Glixa rounding out your top 20 with Kane Halliburton it seems getting black flagged there to preserve his rear of grid starting position. Same for Lockwood. Raja Sekaran unfortunately retiring from the race. Same for Vansavicius, Prechuk, Sabinias as well. Juhas Yacint did not take to the start. Well, Zippy, it is time for heat number 2. And the big thing about this one is the top 10 get inverted. So all those results that we just read out, that is your grid for this second race. But our winner, Andrew Moran, will be starting in 10th, and Sean Haggerty will be starting on pole. Only 23 seconds remaining on the grid timer there. That's your top 10. There's everyone outside 13th place. And yeah, basically that's all you need to know. Flip the top 10 and away you go. I'm looking forward to this.
Well, I do believe the Connor Bell was indeed going to hold the grid for us. So we'll try and do the grid a bit if we can. Rob, keep an eye out for those lights. We'll try and get it going. As you see, Sean Haggerty takes the top spot with Cairo Ends in second. Zoltan Zomator, he'll start in third with Matt Larkin in fourth. Garrett Lund will be in fifth with Sammy Hendricks in sixth. Leon Bedvaldsen, crowd favorite, able to stay in the top 10 in seventh with Mahid Rahman in eighth and Mike Sargent in ninth. And Andrew Moran again starting the top 10 with Fernando Afonso in 11th and Edwin Rivera. Certainly good to see him back up there in 12th.
Yeah, indeed. And from there on, it basically reflects on the results from the first race. So drivers like Rudy Filmalter will want a little more in the way of gains. Edwin Rivera will be trying to keep that momentum up. And we also have to think about redemption for the likes of Vansavicius, Prechuk, and Raja Sekaran. This is going to be a very tough one indeed for a lot of drivers, but we are once again going to have our coaches, Kane Halliburton and Brian Lockwood, starting from the effective rear of the grid. And again, it'll all be down to the standing start here. It's going to be another 15-minute race, and then we have a 5-minute warm-up, and we go into our 20-minute feature. And, well, keep an eye out for more action, because if you think what you've gotten so far is great, wait till you see this. Haggerty starting on pole position. The revs will begin rising, and the pressure is on for Sean Haggerty as the wheels puff up their smoke, and away we go. Again, it looks like the drivers on the outside row got the better start. That's where the racing line is. There is more rubber on that section of the racetrack. Zomator can't pressure our top too much, but very early on the way into the first turn there for Sean Haggerty. He was quite ginger on the brakes there. That's allowed Cairo Ends to skip away.
Well, certainly that was absolutely incredible start, ladies and gentlemen. I do see a couple of incidents popping up, but I'm not seeing any red flags. I said it too quick.
Crash at the back. Yeah, crash at the back, unfortunately. Yeah, it seems like the Team Black cars might have come together there. Mayan Glixa and Rafael Romansky on the left side of your screen, and well, the drivers behind didn't have much space to go.
It was almost like jumping into a ball pit at that opportunity, ladies and gentlemen. Thankfully, I believe they would have been able to survive, at least certainly the drivers, well, maybe not the cars. As you see, Cairo Ends is out in front with Sean Haggerty in second, Zoltan Zomator in third, with Matt Larkin applying pressure, as is novice coach as well. Sammy Hendricks, Mahid Rahman, he's in the mix as well, up 2 positions already. But right now, the 2 coaches already gaining positions, as is Vijay Rajasakaran. He's very keen to get up through the field. And you can see that he's gone very wide, as we've got somebody coming in the pits there as well, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, Kyle Diaz-Castro, that is damage, I believe, that he might have picked up in that turn 1 incident, or one of the incidents that went on around the first lap. And oh dear, there's been a big bit of drama. Matt Larkin spinning off there. You see that smoke. That's the reason why. Looks like Zoltan Zomator tried to move across as they were getting on the brakes for the first turn. And unfortunately, that has wiped out Zomator and Matt Larkin. We'll see it come out of the final corner here on the replay, and Zomator did not get a good run out of the final corner. He was way out across the gravel trap. Now watch what happens here. They come down to the braking zone. Larkin in the purple car is going to get on the brakes, but Zomator thinks, okay, I'm going to try and go for the inside here, but it was a bit too late.
Yeah, I definitely think that was a little bit opportunistic there from Zomator. I get the intention, but it's I don't know if I would have gone for that myself. And I see how it was done, but definitely his teammate as well behind definitely got caught in that. So that's one for the stewards, ladies and gentlemen, not one for us. Certainly, we very rarely get involved in having an opinion on stewarding decisions, ladies and gentlemen. But right now, you see Cairo Ents is very much out in front, and I've got to say, he's doing a fantastic job. There's action happening in the back. You see there, it looks like Sean Hagsey said, you know what, I want to lead some laps. I started pole. I want it back, as he's going there up on the inside, heading out into turn 1.
Yep, good braking performance there from the Team Blue machine, but Cairo Ends compromising his line there and allowing Sammy Hendricks to join the party. See what the Team White car will be able to do here up the inside of turn 2. Mahid Rahman having a great race again as well. Unfortunately, he's going to run a little bit across the gravel. That was almost a disaster right there. Now it's time for Hendricks to see if he can get up the inside here, but the track is blocked perfectly by Cairo Ends. That's how you want to see a defense done coming into that corner.
Oh gosh, this is one of those races where it really could go either way. I wanted to be either in the booth or on the track. Certainly, this is on the Princess Approved track list, ladies and gentlemen, and it's a car I feel comfortable in. And having gone out to some of the pit parties, ladies and gentlemen, I may have snuck in there. Forgive me for that. But you know what? I definitely had some fun doing it. Actually, battling very well with one of the drivers from Split 2, actually. But certainly these Split 1 gentlemen, very, very fast, very, very potent. As you see, Cairo Ends going a little bit wide there, touching the gravel. We got a Hasselhoff in the chat. Well, we almost had one on the racetrack as well, heading towards the beach, ladies and gentlemen, and it's given Sammy Hendricks the opportunity to go alongside as they're heading down into turn 1. Can Hendricks get the double slipstream, potentially take the race lead? You can see there, he's at the front. I think he's managed to do it, ladies and gentlemen. Sammy Hendricks goes up to P1.
That was a perfectly timed maneuver from Sammy Hendricks. Was able to get the both of them in the braking zone, but the pressure will still be on here. Cairo Ends now has the slipstream, a little bit of a slide from all of them, and it is a 5-car party here for the lead of the race. They've got Haggerty, Rahman, and Bentvelsen right behind them. Leon could be on here for another fantastic finish if he holds it together. Don't want to jinx him, but they're side by side ahead. And Haggerty is trying desperately to hold on to a position in the top 5 here. Seems like, there's just cars swarming all around you, and that can play on your mind in a race like this. You start on pole, the pressure is on, you have a chance to take a win, but everyone else wants it just as much as you.
I'm trying to think who it was who said it, but certainly the racing, like the cars may be virtual, but the racing is indeed very real. I think it may have been Joe Peak, ladies and gentlemen. Something actually the guy who got me into commentary. So you can blame him, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm still here a couple of years later. As you see, Mahid Rahman, he's got a little bit of a bubble, but not much. As you see, Team Blue looking to make some move. Actually, we've got 3 blues, 2 blacks, 2 reds, and a white car. So this is going to be very interesting indeed. And if you're wondering why on earth is this guy, naming off colors, well, there is a team's championship, ladies and gentlemen. Don't get me wrong, I love, I'm fascinated by colors, and my OCD loves the matching stuff as well, don't get me wrong. But Sammy Hendricks currently there in the lead in that number 29 machine. Cairo Ends having a fantastic race. You see Mahid Rahman behind. Now the biggest thing here, certainly Cairo Ends has been victim of this before, is his teammate needs to give him the space to actually race. Don't get me wrong, there is an individual championship going in play as well, and certainly as long as you're there with the lead driver, I don't know how hard I would fight. You do not want to take out your teammate. I mean, this isn't Racing Point, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly, we've seen the likes of Esteban Ocon. He was always pretty good at getting involved with that. But not that we're biased or anything like that, ladies and gentlemen. Definitely not. There's another one for the counter there for Hasselhoff. But right now, Mahid Rahman looking to try and capitalize on that slipstream. He's got Andrew Moran right behind him, who's up 6 positions and very much in this battle for the podium as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Moran making a good case for potentially going for the round win here, but it's a battle of the slipstreams here. Left out to dry as Cairo Ends, as Rahman gets a little bit of a slipstream, and we could see Moran try to go for it here in the blue machine. Oh, yep, just a little bit wide there for Cairo. Back down to fourth, and Moran gets the drive out of the corner, but not enough to keep Enns behind him. This could be an interesting fight once again. I love seeing cars go through this sequence of turns right here. It is a question of, can you get the power down? Can you keep the momentum up? Moran could, but he went off track in doing so. And now Enns is under attack from Bentvelsen. Leon very wisely backing out of that one.
Yeah, definitely that little section there. It's a little bit of a correction. I say a little bit. It was more of a brown flag moment there for the number 23 car. Certainly, anybody who's supporting him in the chat, maybe give him a change of shreddies after that move. But thankfully, able to keep hold of it. But as they go through this section here, we've only got about halfway through, ladies and gentlemen. There is indeed not going to be 99 laps. That would be incredible, actually, to watch that. Can you imagine that? A 99 lap there, 1600 race. How many will survive? Find out in the next episode of Survivor. But you can see here, Leon Bentvelsen currently in fifth, looking to try and make his way up onto the podium.
Indeed. Also seeing that Fernando Alfonso may have had an issue about a minute ago, unfortunately. He's towed back to the pit lane, but we'll keep our eyes on the battle for the lead here as Hendricks is now defending from Mahid Rahman, who's trying around the outside, not able to get it done. Last season's overall champion in the BMW M2 CSR. Big change of car for this current season of the Almeida Racing League, from low-spec sports car to low-level open-wheeler, and I'm absolutely loving this F1600 racing. It is so much more exciting, and there's so much more strategy that these guys can employ, but who is going to take victory here? It could be anyone in the top 10 at this point. They're all together.
Oh, very much so. And actually, a few people who aren't together, we're going to get a replay. Oh, my gosh.
That's what
they
happened
cleared
to
the fence as
Alfonso.
well. Did you see the one that cleared the fence on the left-hand side? Yeah. That's my favourite wreck of the evening. Well, of the evening day so far. Oh
my God!
That's one of the coaches as well. That's Brian Lockwood.
That was Lockwood. Yeah. Okay. What on earth? That's worth taking another look at later, I reckon, because the battle for the lead is still going on here. Side by side again between Rahman and Hendricks. Moran right there with them. And look, Kane Halliburton's joined the party too. He's at the back of the train.
Well, you did see there, Sammy Hendricks very deliberately placing that car. It looked like a little bit of a touch there, maybe, with Rahman.
Three
and
wide.
they're going 3 wide. This isn't going to end very well. Oh, my gosh.
They come together. Yeah. Oh, that was Cairo Enns that had to take a little bit of lawn mowing side by side for the lead again. Sammy Hendricks trying desperately to stay ahead of Mahid Rahman, but Mahid got the inside for the braking zone. He's going to try and get it done here at the double hairpin, but Hendricks is playing this so well. He's keeping his nose in it. He's forcing Rahman to compromise his lines at every single corner. He's keeping the battle alive.
Oh, absolutely. And I've got to say, the chat's certainly having a lot of fun with Brian Lockwood getting yeeted off into outer space, ladies and gentlemen. But, oh my, I thought they're going 3 wide again there. And you can see the drivers are very deliberately, look at that. Ladies and gentlemen, if you've seen Lord of the Rings, there's a line very famously said by Gandalf, and I believe it is, "You shall not pass." And that is very much the message that's been sent to Leon Bentvelsen there. Absolutely nowhere to go. And certainly, one of the big things about racing is you got to go for the space, go for the gap. Well, ladies and gentlemen, there isn't really one, and you can't force this car. It is not the night bus from Harry Potter, ladies and gentlemen. As you see Kane Halliburton trying to make a move on the inside, and there's just nowhere he can go. You see the 99 of Andrew Moran right ahead of him. He's got a car right alongside him of Cairo Enns in that 332 machine as they're going to go 2 wide up through the left-hander. Absolutely incredible. A little bit of a wiggle there from Moran, able to keep things in check. A little bit of dust kicked up, but the race continues. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the battle all the way from P1 down to P10, ladies and gentlemen.
How good was the move by Leon Bentvelsen at turn 1 just quietly? Oh no, Mahid Rahman going for a spin there. Looks like there was some contact involved in that one. Not quite sure exactly who got it done there, but Leon Bentvelsen definitely got it done at turn 1. We're going to see here what happened to Mahid Rahman. Hendricks on his way through here just went a little bit wide, but then keep your eyes here on Rahman. Bentvelsen in second there, and Rahman getting a bit too much curb, and actually it looks like he ran wide all by himself. There was no contact there. That was a straight up mistake from Rahman.
Actually looked like he beached himself on that curve a little bit as well. You see the left rear wheel spinning, but this is good news for a couple of drivers. Actually, Kane Halliburton on my end is showing that he's up 16 positions, 15 positions, depends on which part of the corner he's in, with Cairo Ends very much giving him a good fight. Actually, Mike Sargent may have competition there for fighting the coaches. I'm not sure how many points you get for yeeting them into outer space. Certainly, we'll have to check in on that later on. But Halliburton doing an absolutely fantastic job, as you'd expect, ladies and gentlemen. It's not just course material. The guys who are, coaching it, they're very potent on the track as well, as demonstrated. Halliburton absolutely flying through the field, ladies and gentlemen, as you see there. Oh, little wiggle there. I think he got a bit of a nudge even, perhaps. And it's continuing. Pyro Ends getting wrapped up in that. Kane Halliburton taking the scenic route, going through the drive-through, ladies and gentlemen. I think Ends will be able to continue. So that's them two out of the battle for the top 10 potentially. But right now, Sammy Hendricks leading the charge.
Yeah, looks like neither Ends nor Halliburton will be getting fries with that. Hendricks, meanwhile, through the final corner with 2.5 minutes on the clock. 3 laps to go in race 2, and you can see that Hendricks is still feeling the pressure. He's looking to break the draft down the start-finish straight. Ben Velsen, meanwhile, has Moran for very close company in second place, and you see their momentum there from the number 99. He's going to sweep by in the braking zone, and all he has to do is turn in. He's already ahead of Ben Velsen and take second place in fantastic fashion. Well, for now, Hendricks will have to keep his eyes on his mirrors. Battling further back, meanwhile, Matt Larkin, who we saw suffer an issue earlier on, still stymied there in 12th place. He's there with Cairo Ends, who's trying to make a recovery from his coming together with Kane Halliburton. Valdez Vansavicius and Mikhail Prechuk behind them in the Team White cars. 2 drivers who did not have good first races. And it's good to see that they're still circulating and have made their way up through the field here. We only have 18 cars still running here. Unfortunately, Mahid Rahman, you're right, he was beached on that curb, and it looks like he had to tow back to the pits. So now, Kyle Diaz-Castro is the last running car on track in what is going to be 18th spot. 2 laps to go, though, and the top 3 is still very close.
So as you see, Andrew Moran running a little bit wide there, and you see Sammy Hendricks very quickly closing off the inside, and realistically, he's got to do that. He's got to cover it as the white flag waves. You see a battle happening further back as well. VJ and Garrett Lund going at it, and now we've got a freeway battle for the lead. Ladies and gentlemen, these guys have pulled away very slightly. It's going to be Sammy Hendricks on the inside, and Andrew Moran on the outside, ladies and gentlemen. But right now, Leon Bentvelsen looking to try and make a move. Nowhere he can go. Mike Sargent, I got a feeling he's kind of hanging back in the background intentionally at this point. Is he expecting there to be a collision? Certainly, I wouldn't rule it out, but these drivers are very, very capable there. Sargent runs a little bit wide as Ben Velsen sending it down on the inside. It's going to be very much on the outside for the next corner. Moran able to defend, and the battle continues through the last couple of corners.
Yeah, this is going to be a very tense final lap. Top 4 still very close. Mike Sargent has made some big gains on this lap, and he could try and get third from Hendricks if he plays his cards right. Keep up the slipstream. Nail the exit from the S's here. Can Sargent get past Hendricks? Can Bentvelsen pass Moran coming out of the final corner? Easy does it. Moran is going to stay to the inside there down the straight, and he's going to keep P1, and he's going to take a well-earned victory right there. He faced off against some of the best this league has to offer, and Bentvelsen is going to take a strong second spot. Brilliant drive from the number 23. Hendricks will have to settle for third there. And, oh, hello.
Oops.
Seems like, yeah, a little bit of a whoops-a-daisy moment there. Drivers slowing down, but Hendricks deciding, no, I'm still going to go full throttle. And, bit of a messy finish in some quarters, but regardless, I think that's one of the best races we've seen so far.
Oh, that was absolutely fantastic. Certainly, we've definitely had a lot of fun with that. The highs, the lows, and the orbits as well. But Andrew Moran took the top spot with Mike Sargent right behind in second. And Mahid Rahman in third with Leon Bentvelsen in fourth. Sammy Hendricks takes fifth with Garrett Lund in sixth. Matt Larkin in seventh with Zoltan Zomator in eighth. Pyro Ends in ninth, and Sean Haggerty closing out your top 10.
Yeah, Haggerty finishing where he finished in race 1 there, with Fernando Alfonso getting 11th spot. And, no, actually, hang on, looks like the numbers are a little bit...
That's better.
Strange there. Yeah, that's better. That's better. Moran, Bentvelsen, Hendricks, Sargent. Yeah, it was all cycling through. So Cairo ends back to 11th spot. Valdez Vancevicius from 24th to 12th. He cut it in half there through the race. Matt Larkin recovering to 13th place. Could have been much better for him, though. Prechuk and Sabinias in 14th and 15th, with Romansky, Kent finishing out our drivers on the lead lap. Diaz Castro 3 laps down. Mahid Rahman starting a very long retirements list with Zomator, Adrian Afonso, Martinez, Lockwood, Rivera, and Glixer not able to make it to the finish. Now, there is no grid invert for the final race, so those results that you're seeing there are where they're going to be starting for the third and final race, minus, of course, Kane Halliburton, who will likely start at the back once again. But for now, we have a few minutes to catch our breath in warm-up. I think it's appropriate time to hear from Suelio Almeida himself.
If you're a racing driver and you want to reach an advanced level, there's a faster and easier way to become competitive. I've gone from this to this in 5 years. Now, we've created the perfect free driver development guide to help you understand the right order of racing skills to develop if you want to become a competitive driver as quickly as possible. This guide was made after 3,000 hours of combined high-level coaching.
Well, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I've got to say, an absolutely fantastic session of racing so far. Race 1, Race 2, it is absolutely incredible. Also, a big shout out to Suelio's sponsors as well, World of Racing, Podium as well, and indeed Logitech, ladies and gentlemen. Because Podium 1, I've got to say, I had to look at some of their rigs. Absolutely incredible bits of machinery indeed. But I've got to say, Reese, I've got a feeling this final race is going to be absolutely incredible. Certainly, we've seen such fantastic battles so far. We've seen a couple of incidents as well. It really is a perfect the perfect ratio between like fun and oops for me at the minute.
Yeah, honestly, it's been a chaotic ride, but we've had no shortage of things to talk about, have we? It's been an insane race thus far, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how race 3 turns out. It's going to be 5 extra minutes on the clock. That's 5 extra minutes for some good, hard, fast racing, which is exactly what we love to see. You know, I'm just wondering if Moran will be able to hold on to win all 3 races tonight. He's had an incredible run. It's not been without its mild dramas, especially in race 2, but you know what? He's far and away one of the faster drivers in this field. There is a chance that Leon Bentvelsen could spoil the party here, though. He finished 4th in race 1, 2nd in race 2. This will be his best chance yet to finally get a victory in the Almeida Racing League.
Certainly, I got a feeling, honestly, though, with these kind of cars and this kind of track, don't get me wrong, Moran has had incredible talent. We've seen this over and over again, but I have a feeling that anybody could win this race realistically. As long as you're in there, you're in the top 10, realistically, you just got to keep it clean, certainly at the start. You got to weigh up the pros and cons. And I think, don't get me wrong, Moran is definitely, like statistically, he'd be a favorite, but I got a feeling we've got to keep an eye on like the likes of Sammy Hendricks as well. Certainly Mike Sargent, he's definitely had pace here today. Certainly, I think he missed the first round as well. I think it was a Sebring 12-hour. I think he missed that as well. It was Mike Sargent. Certainly, I've raced with him in person in the sim as well. He's potent, and it's one of those things where, like I said, you got to be in it to win it. And another thing as well, we've not really seen lap traffic come into play either as well, despite the incident. So that's actually a little bit surprising. Sometimes we do see that occur, but VJ as well, definitely a little bit further back, but incredible pace as well from VJ Rajasekaran. I got a feeling he's looking to try and get himself up on the top step.
Yeah, VJ, he's had an excellent pace here today, and he'll be stinging a little bit, I think, from that unfortunate incident in race 2. We'll be starting low down the field in this, well, actually not low down. He will be starting in 8th, but, I think it's going to be a difficult one for him. He's got a lot of very competitive drivers to work his way through, and I've just realized I got races 1 and 2 confused. It was in fact race 1 where he had that coming together for the lead with Andrew Moran. So yeah, it's been a long recovery here for VJ. I'm hoping that he'll be able to improve his result here in race 3. He's certainly got the pace to do it, but looks like the clock's hit 0, Zippy. It's time to get into the feature.
Absolutely, and I'm very much looking forward to it. Again, this is one of those races where I'm having an absolute hoot of a time in the commentary booth. Certainly, I'm enjoying it in the chat as well. I love interacting with the chat. This just makes our time in the booth even more enjoyable. It's like we get to interact with you guys, talk to you guys as well. But we should probably get onto the grid. So, Reese, why don't you do the honors?
All right, Andrew Moran going to start on pole once again here with Leon Bentvelsen alongside him on the front row. Sammy Hendricks third alongside Mike Sargent. Garrett London, Mark Frederick are your third row with Sean Haggerty and BJ Rajasekar in 7th and 8th. Rudy Phil Malter and Kane Halliburton your top 10, but I get the feeling that Halliburton is going to drop right to the rear off the start to try and do that last to first challenge again. Cairo Enns and Valdez Vansavicius rounding out your top 12.
As we have a look at 13th, we've got Matt Larkin with Michael Prechuk in 13th and 14th, with Michael Sabinares in 15th, with Rafael Romansky. Certainly he's gotten caught in a couple of incidents there in 16th. David Kent takes 17th, with Carl Diaz Castro, one of the Almeida Racing Academy staff, in 18th, with Mahid Rahman in 19th. He's going to have some work to do this race. Zoltan Zomator takes 20th, with Kevin Adrian in 21st, Fernando Alfonso in 22nd, and I believe the lights are on. Let's focus on the race start. The engines are indeed revving, ladies and gentlemen. Start your engine. Somebody was requesting that in the chat as the lights are up, and Andrew Moran is going to be the one to lead us away. And go, baby, go. They are off, and you can already see here people pulling away, trying to tuck into that inside line as they head down into turn 1. This is a high-speed game of Formula 1600 Cucaracha, ladies and gentlemen. And right now, it looks like Ben Velsen's going to try and get it done on the outside of Sammy Hendricks, looking to make a move up on the inside at turn 1. I do see one of the purple cars there. Looked like they went a little bit wide on turn 1, but as they continue down towards turn 3, side by side is Ben Velsen and Hendricks.
Yeah, looks like Hendricks might be able to compromise Bentvelsen a little bit, but Mike Sargent's going to join his Team Black teammate there. Garrett Lund right in the middle of all of it as well. Lund is looking for a top 4 result here as the Team Black cars look like they've come together somehow. Bentvelsen off, Sargent off, and that is far from ideal. It looks like Sargent went right into the back of Bentvelsen, maybe just missed his braking point.
I did see one of those cars just barely dip a wheel in the grass, and I think that was enough to just not get the braking done. Such fine tolerances when you're going at such fine pace. Keep an eye out. It was one of the left rear wheels. That
yeah, it was Sargent.
There it is.
There we go. There it is.
Yep.
Yeah. Braking compromised into the back of Bentvelsen. It involved a couple of the Team Blue cars as well. I believe Sean Haggerty and Mark Frederick as well. That's not ideal on the first lap, but there's still racing going on here. Halliburton has decided, no, I'm going to keep going here in the top 10 and make my way up to 3rd.
Well, don't get me wrong, in a race car, you have to wear a helmet. In that case, I think he may have had some shoulder pads on as well, as he's absolutely going for it. But we know that VJ, very much one of the more potent racers. He's side by side with Garrett Lund, so we've got to make sure that these guys keep things in check. And they'll be very much keen to give Halliburton somebody to play with as well. But right now, Andrew Moran currently still in that top spot by about 0.2 of a second. Leon Bentvelsen, he's gone, ladies and gentlemen. He's down in 20th with Sammy Hendricks there in 2nd.
Well, there's been a big incident further back. It looks like Kent, Martinez, Afonso, Mahid Rahman as well going off on this lap. Seems like there's been some massive development further back in the field. We'll keep an eye here on Rahman. It's coming down into this braking zone where we've seen a lot of incidents so far tonight. Maybe a bit of an optimistic move there, turning the number 8 of Mikhail Prechuk around, and drivers responding by almost running right into it.
I believe that was maybe a 6-car incident when all things were said and done there, ladies and gentlemen, as I see more dust being kicked up, but we focus on the lead right now. Oh, no, we're back with David Kent. Sorry, let's have a quick look from David Kent. You see, he gets turned around.
Oh. So there were 2 separate incidents going on there.
I think what happened, honestly, when you see an incident ahead, obviously you want to try and avoid the incident, and throwing like yellow flags calls yellow flags. It was kind of a little bit of that, and certainly with the pace that these guys are going at and with how close the incident was to them as it happened, I think basically, it was kind of like, a pile-up, I guess, for lack of better words, as we continue, ladies and gentlemen. Oh gosh, I'm gonna start roasting myself at this rate. If I have to put a dollar
Yeah.
in the pot every time I say that, I'm gonna be broke before the end of the season. There's no doubt about that. But Andrew Moran currently leading as we go on board with Rudy Filmata, who's applying pressure to Matt Larkin for P6.
Oh, yeah, a little bit of understeer, though, for Rudy there, and it seems like the front end of the car is not entirely to his liking, and maybe not the rear end either, looking at that line through the final turn. Vijay Rajasekaran has been involved in so much battling over these first couple of laps. Garrett London, Matt Larkin trying to chase him down, but don't forget Larkin there is also a Team Purple car, so he could try to help Vijay out here. Garrett Lund not able to make the move coming into turn one, but could try to cut underneath and maybe compromise VJ on the inside of the first left-hander of the racetrack. Well, let's see what kind of defense VJ can put up here. Space is given, and they work themselves out nicely, but now boxed in is Matt Larkin, not able to make a move. VJ sweeping around the outside, down the hill and up the inside. They're both struggling with the rear end and dipping wheels into the gravel as Garrett Lund. He's going to lose the spot to Larkin.
Yeah, it did look like Lund went a little bit wide there. You see Rudy Filmata maybe able to capitalize on that very shortly, but certainly he was in the middle of a Team Purple sandwich in that scenario, and I'm not sure really what you'd have in the middle of a Team Purple sandwich, but certainly very much not able to hold on to that in the 30K. You see that it runs a little bit wide. Actually, I believe he was almost like grinding along that curve, ladies and gentlemen. Looked like he'd almost bottomed out on it. Thankfully able to keep the thing rolling, but definitely not what he had in mind, but very much still in the fight as there's stuff happening further back down as well. Mark Frederick has got a meatball flag, and he is just coming to the pit, so definitely something that's happened there to Frederick earlier on in the race.
Yeah, Frederick was I believe one of the cars involved with the unfortunate pile-up on the first or the second lap there, so I think he might have been dealing with that mechanical black flag for a while. We did see him run a bit wide here, and I think that might have been a consequence of the meatball flag, as it were. You can see he's really struggling with the behavior of that car.
The chat is cracking me up between Matt Burgess, Hasselhoff, and Connor Bell. You guys are absolutely doing me a kipper right now. But Kane Halliburton is there in third. He's having a good race. Certainly, I'm having a good time, actually. This is a lot of fun. And it's not actually the hardest charger in the field. Actually, according to what information I've got, that's actually the number 26 car, ladies and gentlemen. Mayan Glickska up 13 positions. Absolutely phenomenal race from him. Hopefully he can keep it up. And Mike Sargent just ahead. So I do wonder, is Sargent getting a little bit of damage from that incident earlier? I definitely wouldn't rule it out. Is he going to be able to not just move up ahead of Sargent, but maybe move up onto the top 10?
Yeah, there's potential there for Glickser. You know, these first couple of rounds, they haven't all gone Glickser's way. Almost every time we've checked in with him, it's been due to an incident of some kind, but well, he will try his best to keep his place in this fight, with Sean Haggerty trying to take him around the outside of turn one. Stays in 13th, does Mayan, and keeps it going very nicely indeed. It seems like Mahid Rahman is right in the midst of all of this, as well as Kevin Adrian, who we right on board with front row seat to this action. Takes the inside, and that's an excellent run out of the corner there from Glickser. So for now, see what he can do to... Whoa, hello, Team Red Car. Seems like Mahid Rahman was there the whole time, and we didn't even see him.
This is a high-speed game of peekaboo, ladies and gentlemen. It's fair to say Mahid Rahman was the jack in the box, and Kevin Adrian very much, he got a surprise he maybe wasn't looking for, but I gotta say, Kevin Adrian definitely not having the best night tonight. Again, another driver I've raced with, you know, on the sim. Certainly seen him in an F1600, and he is incredibly potent on a good day, especially if it starts to rain. Probably one of the best drivers I've seen in the 1600 in the rain. The only person I can think of who would rival him would maybe be Ian Joyner. But that is another thing as well. Are we going to see rain coming to the Almeida Racing Academy? That is another thought as well for Connor Bell, who gets involved in organising these league sessions for them. But you got to say, definitely not the race he was looking for, but hopefully able to recover up, resting in 16th place. As we're seeing Kane Halliburton, he's doing pretty good, making his way up, and you can see the podium. He's already on it, but don't get me wrong, a race win would be, you know, it would be pretty up there. Let's say that for the least.
Yeah, can the coach get it done is the question. Well, looks like there's been some drama here. A bit further back from this battle. Still keep an eye on Matt Larkin, Garrett London, Vijay Rajasekaran, but there's been a spin from Rafael Romansky. Unfortunately, he's found his way around at the double hairpin, but looks like no one else has been involved in that one. Mike Sargent seemed to have a front row to that one. Romansky was already running a bit down the order, I think, but gets on the brakes and oh dear, looks like there was contact with a Team Red car there. I'm not sure who that was.
I think for that, I'd probably want to see it from the point of view for the red car. But we're going to continue right now and see what's happening with Matt Larkin, ladies and gentlemen, as he's in it with Garrett Lund and Vijay Rajasekaran. Certainly, these guys have been in a little bit of a freeway pack for a while, and Rudy Filmata, he was up a little bit closer to him, not been able to stay in that draft, and these guys have indeed been pulling away. So certainly, you know what, that just goes to show just how potent the draft is. Let's see what happened here to Mikel Sabinares. You see, okay, that's exactly what happened. Something got a little bit loose on the way in. Went to correct it, and yeah, it's fair to say, end up with a 1600 where the sun doesn't shine.
And if you note the timing tower, Sammy Hendricks has gone to the lead of the race. It looks like Andrew Moran, through the left-hand turn 3, had a bit of an oversteer moment, and that allowed Hendricks through to the lead. The top 3 still very much together and battling cleanly, and it's the same for this battle here with Vijay looking back at Garrett Lund and Matt Larkin. Probably, I mean, if a sandwich had purple bread and a blue filling, it's not really one I would eat, but I certainly love watching it go around a racetrack. Well, back to the lead goes Andrew Moran. Ever so briefly, Hendricks gets a bit of side draft off him, it seems, and Moran has to go wide, but Halliburton unable to get the momentum through the corner to stick his own nose up the inside. This is an entertaining fight.
Well, I do have a feeling that there may almost be a truce between Hendricks and Moran at times, because realistically, the more they fight off Kane Halliburton, the more points that are available to him. So certainly, there is an incentive, ladies and gentlemen, for lack of better words, to stick it to Halliburton and to stick it to the coaching team in the most politest way possible. But right now, you got to wonder, what do you prioritize most? Do you take the race win? Do you take second? Do you take sticking it to the coach? Certainly, the points are available. And if it was me, honestly, I would be defending with every sheer bit of talent I could muster and maybe need a little bit more.
Yeah, so from memory, the rule is once a coach gets within 0.3 seconds of you, from that point on, every lap you defend that position from the coach, you get an extra championship point. So that is the basic idea of things. Could be wrong on that. I might not be entirely up to date, but it's something along those lines. A side-by-side for the lead again, Moran and Hendricks, potentially trading positions. And I thought about 3 wide did Kane Halliburton, but he's like, nah, I don't want to be a part of this one.
Well, certainly 3 wide, you can force it there, but it does get a little bit dicey. And then if you go and take your preferred line, where they're going to lose momentum, lose speed, it is going to put you in a position to maybe go for an over and under. But certainly going too wide through here is going to slow him down a lot. But I don't know if Halliburton's going to have the real estate to make it happen. You can see him having a little bit of a sniff there, not able to get it done. The just real estate isn't there as he dips in the grass, able to keep hold of it, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, so close between Moran and Hendricks. They nearly banged wheels on the way through the corner there. What a fantastic fight for the lead this has turned into. Moran going for wins in all 3 races here tonight. Can Hendricks spoil the party? Can Kane Halliburton grab himself a victory over the course of this season? Well, Vijay Rajasekaran still holding on there to the 4th spot, and we've got to keep an eye on lap times, I think, because these guys are running 0.6 of a second faster than the top 3.
You absolutely read my mind there, Reese. I'm certainly starting to think that this freeway battle may indeed become a 6-way battle. There's a little bit of weaving there on the straight from Vijay in that 21 car. Not quite sure how I feel about that, but Halliburton has been able to snake his way to the lead. But for how long? Incredibly close as Moran's looking to retake it on the inside. Hendricks is there in 3rd, and he's going to see Halliburton and Moran go side by side, but it's getting incredibly close. They must have closed in another half a second, did that second pack of 3 cars. So we're going to see how that works out. Incredibly close battling so far.
Yeah, and it was so close to disaster as well. Halliburton going for the lead in turn one. Hendricks went right up his rear end and nearly turned him around. So things starting to get a bit leery in this top three battle. But look, they've given each other the bit of space. They've caught their breath, and now they can get back to it. This is exactly what I love to see in a battle. Yeah, things can get a little bit hairy from time to time, but they back off. They take a little moment, and then they get right back to it and manage to avoid visiting the grass, the gravel trap, or the wall. Out of the final corner they come. Love seeing cars go all the way across the runoff there at the exit of the final corner. If there's asphalt there, you can certainly use it. And keeping an eye on the lap times here, well, it's 1:15.8s from our top two and 1:15.9s from Rajasekaran and co. So it looks like the gap has sort of stabilized a bit. Still side by side for the lead, side by side for fourth. Lund having another go at Rajasekaran, but it's unsuccessful.
Well, we are getting a shout out for Leon again in the chat. He absolutely plummeted through the order, and he's managed to make his way back up to 7th place now. And I believe he's in a freeway fight with himself, Rudy Filmota, and Cairo Ends as well. So certainly it's looking like a good recovery drive from Ben Belson. And I do have to wonder, I almost think we could do with an extra 10-15 minutes, because certainly there's 3 lead packs right now. 1 to 3, 4 to 6, and 7 to 9, all very much fighting for it. And I do wonder if these guys keep working together, they will indeed catch each other up, as the gap actually between the second pack has come down to 1.7 seconds, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, looking like it's getting ever closer. VJ can see them in the distance there. Moran and Hendricks fighting over second, as looks like Kane Halliburton has decided to take the gloves off and actually go for some proper fast laps here. Halliburton has the fastest lap of the race so far, 1:14.8, and well, still running mighty quick, way quicker than Moran and Hendricks that time by side again for both second and fourth, and Lund was ahead of VJ Rajasekaran on the way into the braking zone, but VJ is defending that line into turn one every lap and doing a very nice job of it.
Well, at the minute, it almost is like a game of musical chairs, and when that timer hits 20, ladies and gentlemen, the music will indeed stop. Who's going to be stood on the highest step? As Leon Bentvelsen, he's starting to reel in these guys ahead, but don't get me wrong, there just isn't a real estate left for him to catch up. As we have a look at Kevin Adrian now, he's in a battle with Fernando Afonso, Valdes Vancipius, he's in there as well, Michael Sabinares, as Michael Prichuk as well. 5-way fight, heading back for P13.
This is a great fight as well. Can Kevin Adrian get past Fernando Afonso and get that lucky 13th spot? Romansky and Martinez behind, trading places for 18th as this battle continues. On board with Valdes Vancipius. Will he be able to find a way through on these two? You can stay tight through that double right, but you end up compromising your line a little bit through the S's. Fortunately, close enough to pick up the slipstream. And, well, this corner's hard to pass in, this final turn. Vancipius lifting out of it a little bit there. Does have a slight look, try to unsettle Mr. Adrian, but it's all about the run down the start-finish straight. In the draft, trying to be broken there by Fernando Afonso of Brazil. And they'll be side by side on the way into turn one once again. There's Prechuk and Sabiniars battling behind as well to the lead of the pack. Oh no, that's big. Oh, little airborne there for Kevin Adrian. That's what happens when you bang wheels in an open wheeler. One car goes somersaulting over the top of another, and well, that's far from ideal for the two of them. Ben Belson now still fighting with Cairo Ends. Looks like Phil Malter has decided he's going to take a back seat to this for the time being. We've still got 2.5 minutes remaining in this race. 2 laps to go for our leader when they cross the line. I honestly have no idea what's going to happen from here.
Well, I can tell you that Valdes Vancipius, he did indeed get a meatball flag from that incident. He's carrying that around with himself right now. But Garrett Lund, he's very much still in this fight, and he's in the middle of that Team Purple sandwich right now. And, well, as I say that, it looks like Matt Larkin's looking to fight back. But what VJ needs to do in this scenario, he needs to give his teammate the draft. That would be the best way to handle this, because then literally Garrett Lund would have no way to answer. And you can see there the pressure is very much on. Lund are able to hold on, but only just in this scenario.
Yeah, only just. Well, Garrett Lund now facing off against Matt Larkin. But again, the outside line through that left-hander gives you the benefit. This is going to be an interesting fight all the way to the end. But Sammy Hendricks now starting to mount a bit of a comeback against Kane Halliburton. Andrew Moran sitting pretty in third spot. And, oh, I think I've just seen something go wrong for Cairo Ends there. He's fallen back behind Sean Haggerty in 11th. What on earth happened to the Team Red car? Caught the curb? No. It looks like just on turn-in, the rear end decided to go. And oh, that was so close there for, I think that might have been Mahid Rahman. No, it might have been Phil Malta that just avoided him there. White flag, though, Zippy. Let's see who gets this win.
Well, it is indeed a showdown on the last lap between Hendricks, Halliburton, and Moran. Certainly, Moran has had an incredible evening. It's not evening yet, ladies and gentlemen. Still the rest of the day to go. As you see there, almost touching wheels is Hendricks with Halliburton. These guys almost holding hands with the 1600s there, but certainly the pressure being applied. And I do wonder if Moran has waited back to try and make a tactical timing to this pass as they go and dip into the sand. Ladies and gentlemen, there is an instant point limit, but these guys must very much be underneath it. But very, very close racing. Halliburton sliding that car down as they head towards the closing sections of the track.
Who's going to get the power down best? Coming out of these S's, Halliburton holding strong. Andrew Moran, we'll see if he can get a second place here. I think victory might be just out of his reach, but could still get second spot here. Defensive from Sammy Hendricks. And he's going to keep defending the position into the final corner, almost banging wheels. Moran gets a good run out of the final turn. Halliburton's going to take the win here, and it looks like Moran might just... No, he's not going to miss out. He just gets him at the line. Second place there for Moran.
Incredibly close racing there. Certainly, you definitely don't want to get into an incident after the race, but there's still racing going. Sean Haggerty looks like he's applying some pressure there to Mahid Rahman. Not quite able to get it done. And then there's another pack back with Mayan Glixer. Ladies and gentlemen, he was up pretty heavily. I believe he did have an incident earlier on, but able to keep going there in 16th. And he's got a whole field of cars behind him as they are absolutely rocketing down the start-finish line. Incredibly close racing here at Summit Point Raceway.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. As the drivers come across the line, very close for 21st place there. Kevin Adrian versus David Kent. It looks like Adrian was just able to get him there. And I think the gap between them might have come down to the 1,000th, if not the 10,000th, finishing the race on his roll hoop. Yeah, Kevin Adrian won't be too happy with how his race went there. He was battling nicely in the top 10, but had to settle for where he started in 21st. But Halliburton, by half a second over Moran and Hendricks, that's your podium. Vijay Rajasekaran gets 4th place ahead of Garrett Lund and Matt Larkin. Bent Bilzen, Phil Marta, Sargent, and Rahman will round out your top 10 in the final race.
Absolutely incredible with Sean Haggerty in 11th. Cairo ends in 12th with Fernando Afonso in 13th. Valdas Mancibius, he takes 14th with one of the admins there, Kyle Diaz-Castro in 15th. May Glitzka, certainly I believe he got caught in something earlier, in 16th with Michael Prechuk in 17th. Lee Martinez in 18th. Rafael Romansky in 19th. And Mikhail Sabinares in 20th. As we have a look at 21st, Kevin Adrian, definitely not the day he was looking for, with David Kent in 22nd, Mark Frederick in 23rd. Zoltan Zomator takes 24th with Edwin Riviera in 25th. Brian Lockwood, yeah, we remember his incident. Sorry, Brian. In 26th, Juhas Yacint, I do believe he did not take to the start, neither did John Kenny or Connor Bell. Actually, Connor Bell been very active in the YouTube chat. Thank you very much to him. But we are at that part where we do want to try and get some interviews, ladies and gentlemen, with some of these gentlemen who have been driving. Let's see exactly who is up and around. None of them are in here yet. Connor Bell, please usher some drivers into the interview booth.
Come on, boys. We want to have a chat to some of you. That was certainly an exciting race, though, Zippy. I'm very happy with the action that we got. Certainly some fantastic entertainment for sure. But it does look like we've had Andrew Moran just pop in. It looks like you're going to take him.
Well, I've got to say, Andrew, what an absolutely incredible day of racing for yourself. Certainly getting into some fantastic battles, even with the grid invert. So, Andrew, we know that you've had success here in the Academy. Tell us a little bit about the, what you do to prepare for this, and certainly a little bit about the team dynamic, if you could.
Yeah, so typically a week is, we do our workshops on Monday. I get some practice in before that, and then some either with one teammate or multiple teammates. I try to get some laps in with a little bit of draft, a little bit of not draft, and then just every day throughout the week trying to put in a few laps at least just to keep my mind fresh on it. And then yeah, and then preparing for qualifying, like to do a little bit of a practice quali, 2-car draft. So this week was me and Garrett, so it was big help from him. Just making sure we know when we're gonna let each other by and if and just trying to be consistent, nothing too crazy.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is exactly what we're saying here on the broadcast. Certainly, you know what? You've got to work as a team in qualifying. I've got to say, Andrew, absolutely incredible results. You've been a potent driver, not just in season 1, but also in season 2, season 3, ladies and gentlemen. This guy is absolutely on it. Certainly one to keep an eye on. But Andrew, before we let you go, is there anybody you'd like to share out?
Definitely to Garrett again. He really helped me in quali, and then the other 2 blue guys that we had in here today, Sean and Mark did a good job to have some good racing, and it's a lot of fun. I like these guys, so thanks to them.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was Andrew Moran having multiple successes here today at Summit Point Raceway. We'll wish you the best of luck, and maybe we'll speak to you next week when we head to yeah, Reese, where are we heading next week?
Red Bull Ring.
Yeah, Red Bull Ring. Thanks, Andrew.
No
Doing our
problem.
job for us.
Take care.
Maybe we should send you a paycheck.
Yeah.
Feel free.
Oh, dear.
Well, that was Andrew Moran there, and I think, Zippy, I might take Sammy Hendricks for the next interview. We got Leon Bentvelsen waiting in the wings, but Sammy, 5th and 2/3 tonight. Qualifying obviously didn't go your way. It was a very active session, but I think the racing was even more so.
Hey man, what's going on?
Yeah.
You pulled me in without my consent. I'd just like to mention that.
Well, I do apologize, and we'll do better next time. But regardless, that was a super intense final race between yourself and Andrew, and Kane chucking his nose in there as well. Got a bit hairy at the hairpin there. Almost went entirely up the rear end.
I don't remember. What?
I certainly remember. It was pretty massive. Bit of contact between yourself and Kane there.
Oh, yeah, I touched his rear. It's okay, he likes it. It's fine. I just thought he was gonna go like a little deeper, a little bit, faster, but you never know what to expect from Kane. Sometimes he likes to slow down and give us a chance. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the show, and it was good racing. And yeah, man, I'm in good spirits. I'm about to have some drinks, enjoy my weekend. I hope you guys do the same.
Yeah, I've already gotten a couple of those drinks in myself, but yeah, honestly, a great round for you, Sammy. And Red Bull Ring, I think, is going to bring more of the same here. It's another very fast, draft-heavy circuit with heavy braking zones. Are you expecting a lot of tonight's action to translate over?
I'm not even thinking about Red Bull Ring. I'm thinking about the drink. I could use a Red Bull after that.
Hey, fair. Fair enough, mate.
Let's replace the alcohol with that for now, huh? Gets my energy back up.
I think that's a very wise decision, Sammy. Well, thanks very much for joining us. Congratulations on your results tonight. Anyone you want to shout out before we let you go?
Team White, best team. Don't believe in the scoreboard. We're making a comeback. We're coming for you. I think it's red on top right now, but they've been having way too many incidents. I'm sure they're gonna kill themselves. They're gonna fall off. So yeah, I hate the red team. All white team. Let's go. That's it. Oh, my dog, my wife, of course, before I get killed.
Of course. Well, Sammy Hendricks there joining us. Thanks very much, mate, and hopefully another chat is in our future at the Red Bull Ring.
Alrighty, see you guys. Take care.
Sammy Hendricks there, and looks like, Zippy, our final chat is going to be with Leon Bentvelsen, who got second in race 2.
Well, I've got to say, Leon, definitely a up and down day of racing for yourself. Very potent in the grid, and not only that, very popular in the chat. Literally, I'm looking at one chat, and it's pretty much entirely filled with people cheering you on. But Leon, we're heading to the Red Bull Ring for the next round. How do you feel about that track in comparison to Summit Point?
Yeah, hi Zippy, hi guys. Well, first of all, I want to thank all the fans, of course, for
Attaboy.
cheering me on. That really helped. You can see me going from back to the front again. Yeah, Red Bull Ring. I think that's also going to be a draft game, or not? Few turns. I don't know. It's going to be fun.
I got to say, Leon, very potent on the track indeed, and definitely a very good race and incredible recovery in that final race as well. Able to get yourself back up to 7th from, I believe it was 22nd place. Certainly the chat was very much keeping me honest. That's Aurum pointing that out. Yeah.
Right.
Just absolutely right. And I've got to say, congratulations to you. Definitely some good results, some good battles, and maybe we'll be speaking to you next time at the Red Bull Ring.
Yeah, looking forward to next week. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that indeed was Leon Bentbells, and I got to say, that's going to pretty much wrap it up for us here today on Pit Road Productions, and indeed on the Almeida Racing Academy. Certainly, we've been definitely the first time we've done it on 2 channels, definitely a little bit different, and I got to say, a huge thank you to Swellier for letting that happen, and for making that happen. Thank you very much there. Certainly, it's been great having these guys out on the track as well. Certainly, I'm getting stuck into the academy myself as well. I'm looking forward to going through that journey, through that experience as well, seeing even more what it's about firsthand. And you see there, that's definitely one of the coach drivers there, modeling for us, ladies and gentlemen. That's got to be, who is that? Is that Kane or is that Brian? That's got to be Kane. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure
Kane
that's
Halliburton.
Kane, yeah.
Kane Halliburton doing a modeling session for us, ladies and gentlemen. But I think that's going to be pretty much all from us. My name is, and I guess always will be, Daniel Zippy Salmon. And joining me in the booth today was Reese, Yogi Bear Gardner. Sorry, Reese, we gave you that name last round. And Rob the Goatee Campbell. And but let's see you next week at the Red Bull Ring. Thank you very much, and we'll see you soon.
If you're a racing driver and you want to reach an advanced level, there's a faster and easier way to become competitive. I've gone from this to this in 5 years. Now, we've created the perfect free driver development guide to help you understand the right order of racing skills to develop if you want to become a competitive driver as quickly as possible. This guide was made after 3,000 hours of combined high-level coaching.